You took too long.
What are you saying?
I'm saying you took too long.
Most Game of Thrones fans think Jaime Lannister's absolute lowest point was when he lost his sword hand in the mud of the Riverlands. But they're wrong. His true mutilation happened weeks later, in a quiet room in the Red Keep. That short conversation looks like a small quarrel between a couple, but in fact, it is one of the cruelest emotional executions in the entire show.
Work of art, really. Craftsmanship is exquisite.
Jaime is trying on his prop arm.
Like it so much, you're welcome to chop off your own head and take it.
He lost the one thing that defined his entire life, his hand.
You lost your hand.
My sword hand. I was that hand.
The greatest swordsman in Westeros suddenly can't even hold a sword anymore. No wonder he is cynical.
You're such an ingrate. I spent days with the goldsmith getting the details just right.
Cersei starts with an accusation. Jaime is the one mutilated and traumatized. But somehow Cersei becomes the offended party because he didn't praise her enough for getting him a prop.
Days.
Better part of an afternoon.
Funny how days with the goldsmith suddenly becomes, well, technically one afternoon. First, she inflates her effort to maximize guilt, then minimizes it casually when caught.
How does that feel? A hook would be more practical.
He wants something practical because he has to live in reality as a disabled man. He needs this prop to be functional at least. But see how Cersei responds.
Elegant, I think.
He wants something useful, something that helps him survive. Cersei wants something that looks good, standing next to her. She doesn't care about comfort at all.
Thank you for your help with the other matter.
The symptoms have abated?
Gone completely.
You think she just decided to thank Qyburn for his assistance? Not at all. That is one more attack on Jaime.
I'm in your debt, Maester Qyburn.
Not a maester, your grace, but happy to help.
Doesn't this feel strangely performative? Have you ever seen Cersei this openly grateful to anyone? She's not thanking him just to be polite. She's doing it in front of Jaime on purpose. She wants Jaime to feel replaced, like somebody else has already taken his place beside her.
Odd little man.
Jaime isn't really talking about him being odd. He's reacting to the dynamic. He can already feel another person slipping into the space that used to belong to him.
I've grown rather fond of him. He's quite talented, you know.
He is talented. It's just a fact. I've grown fond of him. That makes it personal. That line is calculated. She wants Jaime to feel uncomfortable.
What symptoms?
Symptoms that are not your concern.
He asks a completely normal question. He's worried about her. And look how cold the answer is. Not, I don't want to talk about it. Not, it's nothing, but not your concern. That's brutal. Cersei is basically telling him, you no longer have access to me the way you used to.
Let him touch you?
You jealous?
Jaime feels it immediately, and Cersei instantly goes for the reaction. She likes provoking him and seeing that it still affects him. It reassures her that she still has control over him.
I'm surprised. Never let Pycelle near you.
He doesn't fully take the bait. Deep inside, he feels jealousy, but he doesn't show it.
I think I'd let that old lecher put his hands on me.
She could have simply reassured him there. Instead, she doubles down and makes Qyburn seem even more special. She is openly rewriting the rules of her intimacy right in front of Jaime's face. He realizes this conversation is going nowhere, so he changes the subject.
Drink more than you used to.
Yes.
Why?
Instead of arguing, he notices something genuinely worrying. He thinks he's walking into an honest conversation, but it is a big mistake. The tirade we are going to hear is probably the most absurd monologue of the entire show.
Let's see. You started a brawl in the streets with Ned Stark and disappeared from the capital.
You started a brawl and disappeared. She completely erases the fact that he was captured, kept in chains, and mutilated. Like he was off on an extended vacation in this beautiful cage, while she heroically suffered inside the Red Keep with unlimited wine and servants.
My husband died in a tragic hunting accident.
Must have been traumatic for you.
He can't even hide sarcasm anymore. Cersei helped orchestrate Robert's death herself. She wanted him gone. But the consequences of his death, the war, the loss of immediate stability, bother her. Therefore, she is the victim of the situation she herself created.
My only daughter was shipped off to Dorne.
Myrcella was safer and happier in Dorne than almost anywhere in Westeros. But Cersei doesn't care about that.
Dorne is the safest place for her.
Are you mad?
What hurts her is losing control.
It's done, Cersei.
No.
You cannot stop it.
Tyrion made the decision without asking her.
We suffered through a siege.
Rather short siege.
Jaime can't hide sarcasm again. What Cersei calls a siege lasted a few hours, and she spent it in the most possible comfort, drinking wine and terrorizing a teenage Sansa Stark. Her discomfort, no matter how minor or brief, will always be framed as a grand, historic tragedy. It matters much more than Jaime losing his hand in a cage hundreds of miles away.
Rather a short siege that I didn't expect to survive.
Look at how she responds when he minimizes her siege. She doubles down. Jaime responds with logic. Cersei responds with emotional pressure. Suddenly, the conversation is no longer about whether the siege was short. Now it's about how terrified she supposedly felt.
And now I'm marrying my eldest son to a wicked little bitch from Highgarden.
The same story as Myrcella. Joffrey is getting on with Marjorie just fine, and in fact, she is the only one who can calm and control him. Tywin approves this, but Cersei doesn't see Marjorie as help. She sees competition. Cersei wants to be the only son in the room. She would genuinely rather have Joffrey remain an unmanageable monster than a stable king influenced by another woman.
Well, I'm supposed to marry her brother, a renowned pillow biter, so...
Again, a contradiction. Ironically, this marriage is actually perfect for Cersei. Loras has no interest in her, meaning she keeps the freedom Robert never allowed her. But narcissism isn't logical. The fact that he wouldn't desire her becomes an insult. To Cersei, every problem is something done to her. Even problems she created herself. If you like breakdowns like this, please subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Thank you. You think this conversation has already reached its lowest point? Come on, the fatal blow is yet to come. Jaime cannot listen to this nonsense anymore. He stops arguing, and for the first time in the scene, he admits something genuinely painful.
Father disowned me today.
He can't disown you, you're all he's got.
And it's not a reassurance. To understand what just happened, we have to look at the conversation in Tywin's chambers. The point is, Tywin did not disown him. Tywin wants him to go to Casterly Rock. The official reason is...
War is over, the king is safe.
The less official reason is...
You can't serve in the king's guard with one hand.
But Jaime refuses. Tywin is not happy about that. But his final line isn't, "You are no son of mine." He saves that for Tyrion. Instead, Tywin snaps,
If serving as a glorified bodyguard is the sum of your ambition, go serve.
As you see, there is annoyance and disappointment, but no rejection. Jaime probably had heard this many times. So why did he take it so hard? Because of Tywin's last line, when he tells to keep the Valyrian steel sword.
Keep it. A one-handed man with no family needs all the help he can get.
Tywin knows exactly how to twist the knife. When he says no family, he is weaponizing his son's own words against him.
I don't want Casterly Rock. I don't want a wife. I don't want children.
Tywin isn't legally cutting him off. He's just mocking his sudden vulnerability. The legendary Kingsguard knight who used to command rooms now needs help just to sheath his sword. So why does Jaime go straight to Cersei and say, "Father disowned me today"? Because he desperately wants comfort and validation. Jaime is thinking, my father just mocked me for being broken. But Cersei will tell me it doesn't matter. She loves the real me. The tragedy is, she doesn't.
He can't disown you, you're all he's got.
He is talking about how the conversation felt. Cersei immediately turns it into a technical discussion about inheritance and succession. Tywin cannot dismiss his own normal child. She's basically telling him, stop whining, that didn't happen, you're misinterpreting it. But there's another layer hiding inside that line. You're all he's got. Think about what Cersei accidentally reveals there. She doesn't include herself. In Cersei's mind, Tywin has only one real child, and that says everything about her relationship with her father. She spent her whole life trying to prove she was Tywin's true successor.
Did it ever occur to you that your daughter might be the only one listening to them?
But she knows Tywin never saw her that way. What she's really saying is, you're the child that matters, and you're throwing it away. So even when her brother comes to her broken and vulnerable, Cersei still turns the moment back toward her own pain. And if you think this conversation can't get any worse, just watch what happens next.
You're forgetting Tyrion.
Jaime pushes back and reminds her that Tyrion exists, but Cersei doesn't even engage with the point. The moment Tyrion enters the conversation, she immediately redirects everything back, where she still has emotional control.
You don't really plan on staying in the King's Guard, do you?
This question isn't born out of curiosity. It's an encoded message. She is saying, "Go away. You are no longer what I need here." To Cersei, a one-handed knight hanging around the Red Keep is useless. He can't fight for her, and his deformity ruins her perfect image. She wants him to leave the capital and go play Lord at Casterly Rock, because that's where he can still be useful. But guess what? If he really went to Casterly Rock, she would have blamed him for leaving her again. With people like this, no matter what you do, you always end up guilty.
Staying in the King's Guard means I live right here with you.
Jaime still thinks this is a love story. In his mind, giving up Casterly Rock to stay beside Cersei is romantic. It's proof of devotion, but he completely fails to see what's already happening here. Emotionally, Cersei has started pulling away a long time ago.
Not now.
I want. Not now. When?
Jaime feels her slipping away, so he tries to pull her closer, but her reaction is ice cold. Cersei no longer treats intimacy as something shared between them. She treats it like something she gives or withholds, depending on how useful he is to her. Because he is no longer providing her with power, status, or a perfect reflection, she treats his touch like an annoyance.
I've been back for weeks. Something's changed.
Everything's changed.
After weeks of being ignored and treated like an annoyance, Jaime finally hits his breaking point. He stops making excuses for her. He finally says it out loud. Something's changed. He is trying to understand what happened to them. But watch how Cersei responds. She would never say, "You're right, I've been distant." Instead, she aggressively escalates.
You come back after all this time with no apologies on one hand and expect everything to be the same.
It is one of the most revealing lines in the entire scene. Jaime was captured fighting a war that her son started, kept in a cage, and had his hand brutally hacked off. It's a miracle he survived that. And somehow Cersei still expects an apology. Why? Because in her mind, Jaime's disability isn't a tragedy that happened to him. It's a personal offense against her. By losing his hand, he broke her perfect mirror, and she despises him for it.
What do you want me to apologize for?
For leaving me.
She puts him as an inconsiderate boyfriend who disappeared and left her to deal with the chores. The fact that Jaime was in chains means nothing to her, because her emotional discomfort will always outweigh anything that happened to him.
You think I wanted to be taken prisoner?
He is still trying to appeal to simple reality here, but by this point, the facts barely matter anymore.
Don't know what you wanted. You weren't here. You left me alone.
In other words, I don't care what happened to you. I only care that you weren't here for me. If Jaime had died in that mud pit from an infected stump, Cersei wouldn't have wept for his stolen life. She would have cursed his corpse for leaving her unprotected in King's Landing.
Every day I was a prisoner, I plotted my escape. I murdered people so I could be here with you.
Jaime is bringing a knife to a psychological gunfight. He still tries to prove his love and wake up her empathy. But it doesn't work. There is no savings account for good deeds. Jaime is begging her to validate his survival, totally blind to the fact that to Cersei, he has already stopped being the man she
You
wanted.
took too long.
What are you saying?
I'm saying you took too long.
That is a terminal shot. She tells him that his suffering has an expiration date. She treats his survival like a late Amazon delivery or a flight delay. If he couldn't escape fast enough to protect her during the siege, then his survival doesn't matter. This is the exact moment the romantic illusion shatters forever. He is realizing that he didn't sacrifice his hand, his honor, and his sanity for a soulmate. He sacrificed them for a monster who treats his trauma like a late delivery. She drops a bomb that breaks his entire reality and then immediately denies him the chance to speak.
Go
Come
away.
in.
Jaime is desperate to keep this conversation private because his entire relationship is collapsing in front of him. But Cersei instantly calls the servant in. She completely overrides him, and the moment another person enters the room, he is forced to put the mask back on. His pride won't let him completely fall apart in front of a witness. Cersei knows that. She leaves him trapped inside his armor, finally realizing that the woman he sacrificed everything for never truly loved him the way he imagined. Let's be honest, Jaime Lannister was never a traditional hero. He was an arrogant cynic who threw an innocent child out of a tower window. But regardless of what we think he deserved, he endured an immense amount of physical and psychological suffering. And the tragedy is, the longer he stayed away from Cersei, the better man he was becoming. He risked his life for Brienne. He was going to keep his word and deliver Sansa to her mother. Remember how they first reunited? Jaime didn't even stop to wash the mud off his face or change his clothes. He ran straight to her chambers because the sheer hope of seeing Cersei again was the only thing that kept him alive in that cage. But he didn't meet the warmth. He met a clinical, calculated discard. He was forced to face the most devastating realization of his life. Cersei never loved him. She loved the perfect reflection of herself inside him. She loved that he was a lethal warrior and the prized Lannister heir, everything she always wished she could be. And the moment he stopped being that tool of power, he was thrown away like garbage. Do you think it was too much for him? Or did he get exactly what he deserved? Tell me in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.